Well, I presume we are going to have, Mr. Iverson's usually pretty reliable.
Yeah, he's going to zoom in. Is he down?
He's zooming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe he's got the wrong time.
Well, yeah, what time zone is he in?
I will text him.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting of the audit committee together. We have Chair Barry and Member Youngkin right now, waiting for Member Iverson to come on, but we do have a quorum. I'm going to start by asking if there's any public comment of anything related to the business of this committee. Seeing none, we do have minutes from our last meeting, which was November 20th. And if we've all read those, I'd ask for a motion to approve those minutes.
So
I would move to approve. However, I must say I was not on the audit committee, and so while I was present, I may not have been paying as close of attention as I will be from now on.
Here's what I'll do. Well, I'll move them because I was there. If you want to second them.
I'll second it.
Okay. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now moving on to executive director comments. Do you have any, Dan?
Just two updates. So we ran our typical due diligence process on our SOC auditor as well as our financial statement and auditing services. Since the last meeting, we have contracted again with Whipfly for SOC audit services. As you'll remember, the board got an exception from the Legislative Audit Division several years ago to have this additional layer of auditing performed on an annual basis. We also did contract with Eide Bailly for additional GASB, GAAP, and auditing services to help us with the financial statements.
Now, those are consulting services.
Those are consulting services that are, they help us under they have access to all of our investments, and thus we treat them as investment services. So Eide Bailly is also renewed. These are Eide Bailly's renewed for 3 years. So those are done, and otherwise, the good folks behind me have the rest of it, unless there's any questions.
Any questions? Any questions, Cindy? Are you good?
I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. Moving on to the audit checklist. I'm going to turn it over to Julie to go over that for us.
Yeah, thank you. I am Julie Feldman. I'm the controller for the Montana Board of Investments. And within your packet, you'll find the 2025 Audit Committee checklist. This checklist represents activity for the current and previous year. Thus, with the start of the new year, most of the information that was pertaining to 2023 was removed from the checklist. And there are a few items that I want to specifically mention or highlight from the checklist. The first item pertains to the annual report, which was posted to BOI's website prior to our statutory deadline of December 31st. Regarding the fiscal year 24 financial statement audits, you will find a copy of those audit reports within your packet. These reports were issued by our Montana Legislative Auditor. And for fiscal year 24, the Legislative Audit Division issued unmodified opinions with no recommendations on both the Unified Investment Program and the enterprise statements. The audit opinion date on both of those reports was January the 8th of 2025. And this is about a month later than it typically is issued from the Legislative Audit Division. You'll find the UIP opinion on pages A1 through A3 of your report. and the enterprise opinion on A47 through A49. LAD also issued a report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters based on audit of financial statements performed in accordance with government accounting standards. This report also was issued with no findings, and that report can be found on page B1 within your report. These reports are going to be presented to the Legislative Audit Committee sometime in the future. And LAD did allow for the early release of our audits in that the audits were posted to LAD's website prior to the presentment to the Legislative Audit Committee. The reason for this is that BOI has a continuing disclosure requirement on Emma in relationship to Montana Facility Finance Authority program. And John will speak further to these statements later in this meeting. Regarding BOI's SOC auditor, Dan mentioned that we were working on a new contract. And then BOI's GASB Consulting, Dan also mentioned that new contract will now run through December 31st of 2027. Regarding the calendar year 25 ethics statement, all of your staff have signed the ethics policy statements for 2025, and all voting members are being asked to sign the ethics policy statement for 2025 during this meeting today.
Okay, we have the ethics policy on our table here. Right. Okay.
Any questions?
No. So John's going to go over the numbers. Now our agenda calls for approval, asking the committee to approve the financial statements, but I'm going to wait till after John gets a chance to go through the numbers before we ask for that.
Pardon, I didn't hear you.
I'm going to wait till after the committee, after we hear John Carpenter give us an overview of what the results of the financials are before I ask for approval of those. It's kind of strange because we've already posted these to our website, right? Or no, they're on the LAD site, and they've already been audited. They've got a clean audit, and we're going to be asked to approve these. It's a little bit different. Theoretically, you'd want the board to approve the financials to be submitted to the auditors so that we have a chance to take a look at and ask questions. But given the timeline and all that sort of thing, we'll ask for approval afterwards. And then are you going to, Dan, are you going to cover the ethics policy in your discussion, or are we going to take care of it within the committee and ask the board members to sign it?
So I guess that would be up to the board. If you want to address, we can address the questions now, or we can address the questions under tab 2 sub E or sub D. It's the same as it was last year. Your governance policies require that every board member and every staff member sign these on an annual basis. I don't believe we made any changes from last year to this year. We did the big rewrite last year on front running and additional requirements. So this is the same as it was for calendar 24.
Mr. Chair, I'll leave it up to you. Should we just cover it here and get it out of the way?
I think that would work, yeah.
Okay, all right. So you do have, if anybody has questions on the code of ethics?
Yeah, I don't have a question about the code of ethics. I guess the question that I have is, forgive me, as this is my first BOI meeting. If you have questions for, going through kind of the materials in here, it'd be interesting to kind of learn more about, say, the securities lending, et cetera. When's an appropriate time, basically Dan, how do you like to handle, like if you have questions prior to the meeting, how do you like to handle that?
Just call me, and then either If I don't know it, I'll get the right person to get in touch with you on any particular items. Relative to the financial statements, Chair Barry's right. Typically, we'd have this conversation in November, December before we submitted the final or got the final opinion from the LAD. But the statute requires us to have our financial audit and all of our annual reports done by December 31. So we kind of had to reverse it this year based on the inversion of the process that we're subject to as opposed to that we drive. So this year, you're just acknowledging receipt of the financial audit and the financial statements as opposed to sort of approving them for submission.
However, John, I think if you have questions on the financials, because it's not exactly clear. We have two different financial statements: the universal or
Unified Investment
Unified
Program.
Investment Program, and then the enterprise program. So there's two separate statements for two separate programs, and that's how the board is budgeted and set up. But if you have questions on the numbers, and if you do have questions on securities lending, let's go ahead and let you ask.
Oh, well, I think that, it's because I'm new and because, there's a lot of material here, and I've watched like one of the past meetings. We run it so you guys run it very efficiently, so congratulations to the board. I think what I'll do is this time, I want to kind of sit and watch, but like issues, like if you go through it, like on A25 allowed investments, there's, if when we're reading through the materials that are sent, there's a lot of materials there, and I can see how if we, how this could end up taking a lot of time to actually go through every question that can be raised. And so, essentially before the next meeting, I'll meet with John or Dan and kind of go through questions that I have directly.
Perfect.
That'd probably be helpful for you.
And I'm new, so for
And I would just note, just for reference, kind of all the big issues, whether it's asset classes, sec lending, et cetera, through that schedule that we gave you over the course of 2 years, so it's quite a while, but
Right.
there's kind of a deep dive on a lot of different areas.
Great.
So hopefully, I realize that definitely takes time to absorb all of those things, but I mean, we do try to hit on as many of those topics as we can to give the board, as in-depth a flavor for it. Kind of each meeting we get a little something there. We've kind of got cash movement stuff this go around in this particular board meeting, but we try to do those regularly so that we do get exposure a little deeper than just the board.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
I'll just say, Mr. Chairman, John, you should expect to be completely overwhelmed and a 90-degree learning curve. And, I've only been doing this for 2 years and I still have a 90-degree learning curve. So I'm ready. I'm willing to admit that.
I doubt that, Cindy. You're pretty sharp there.
Well, it's the kind of stuff I didn't do professionally. I'm in the code of ethics, yes, but all of these numbers with 9 decimal points after them, or 10, and just investment stuff. And I would just add that I do think that Dan and John are very good at answering those questions and trying to help you understand, and they'll get you to the right person that you need to talk to if you want to go into a deep dive. Good luck.
Right. It's just, to walk through all the material here is quite a bit. So yeah, it's good to kind of figure that out prior.
The financial statements are pretty detailed, but we'll let John go over information here for us. How's that?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. John Carpenter, I'm the Accounting Bureau Manager and one of the 2 CPAs on staff. Been with the board for 5 years.
What? Why do you say that, John?
Just,
It's
we
like-
are
Are you
professionally
trying- Are you
certified.
trying to buck for a raise or something?
According to some of us board members.
This is my one opportunity, Mr. Chair, to get in front of the committee, so I need to sell myself every 2 years, so. As mentioned, presenting the financial statements, just want to take the opportunity to thank the accounting staff. It is a very hardworking, behind-the-scenes kind of group, not one that wants the spotlight, but they certainly deserve it. Professionalism, and they do exceptional work for the board and for the state of Montana, accounting for now the $29 billion worth of assets. We're accounting for every penny of that. Also Julie for coordinating the audit. She provides over thousands of documents between the SOC audit, the enterprise, and the UIP. So she also coordinates our schedule, gets all the audit interviews, conferences. She deflects accounting, protects us from all of the auditor questions, and then approaches us as needed. So thank you, Julie, for your work. And then the Legislative Audit Division for their professionalism. It was a good group that was in here. Yes, they got pushed on their schedule a little bit, but again, no fault of the staff, so appreciate their cooperation. The first statement is the Unified Investment Program. As Julie noted, an unmodified opinion. The total net position was 28.3 billion. Again, these numbers are as of June 30th, 2024, so they might feel a little outdated. Are we still over 29 billion, Dan? Depends on the day. Perfect.
Don't look at the ticker right now, but yeah.
This is in comparison to 27.1 billion, so an increase of 1.2 billion. Net investment income of 1.8 billion. So again, fantastic year for the program. The only real highlight here is that we adjusted the statements to include GASB 96, the subscription-based IT arrangements, or SPIDAs, as we like to say. The net impact of that was $18,000. So again, in scope, not a big deal, but it did alleviate some heartburn with our auditors. With that, again, just providing the statements, not approving the statements, but if anybody has questions, I'm happy to address those.
Income due participants on A12, that's the payment that goes out to the beneficiaries, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So that would be the participants, and also that would include the trust funds, that would include STIP that hadn't been paid out yet as of June 30th. So any of the pools that owe income, yes. So
Thank you.
pension being the big one there.
And could you define administrative fee payable? That's from the, do you mind defining that?
I'm trying to, so administrative fee, I believe that includes other investor fees. It's not just due to the board, that's because we collect our nominal fee on a monthly basis. So that would include other investment managers.
Thank you.
So our as a percentage of the assets, both for internal and for management staff, what is that percentage?
So our, I just gave this presentation, the teacher's retirement system. When I got here in 2018, we were at 0.31% total, all this, so that's all manager fees, BOI, custodial bank. We're now down to about 0.25. My internal goal is to get us to about 0.2. I think that's pretty doable, and the legislature might be helpful in that, and I'll talk about that under tab 2. But it gets squirrely, so Ron, I'm drawing a blank. I need another cup of coffee. Profit sharing, that counts as the expense. Carried interest. Carried interest shows up as an expense, but it's profit sharing, so it's one of those weird ones that you kind of have to carve out separately, but that's in the 0.31. But internally, I think we can hit 0.2% pretty easily.
Okay, now, 0.25 is already pretty low
Yeah,
from
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
0.25% as far as an investment cost or, investment management cost is pretty low.
Yeah, 25 basis points is awesome.
Yeah. So, why do you, where do you get the 0.2%?
so a couple places. One, under tab 2, I'll talk about the legislature has proposed us going into a fiduciary fund from the proprietary fund. So under that, we'll be able to bill against other assets.
Okay, but I guess my question is, are you looking at some benchmark?
No, I'm just saying we're at 0.25 and I've got a path to get us to 0.2. So
Okay.
fulfilling those goals will get us to 0.2.
And Mr. Chair, we do disclose that on A9 of the statement. So note for fiscal 23, it was 27 basis points. For fiscal 24, it was 26. We're currently trending towards 25, so we're getting there. But yeah, as you mentioned, you can only ratchet it down so far, but we believe there's still some room to ratchet. So.
And the other thing weighing on this is what asset classes we're deploying in. So last year we moved a little bit more to privates. Better return, but also higher fees. So, that weighs in on the fee balloon as well.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions on Unified Investment Pool? Otherwise, we'll move to, it's A47. This is the presentation of the enterprise financial statements. So this is statutorily mandated to have a separate audit. So that's why we present these statements separate from, it really is its own unique program underneath Commerce as it stands currently. So the enterprise program, also an unmodified audit opinion, net position of 5.5 million versus 5.4. So again, net income of 114,000, which is exceptional. The only change here for GASB was GASB 101, which is the presentation of compensated absences. There was a lot of additional math that happened at DOA to make this happen. The net effect was null, basically, for the enterprise statement. So we do include in there that we implemented GASB 101, but it did not have a material effect to the statements.
Okay, thank you, John. Any questions on the enterprise statements?
Okay,
Thank you.
absolutely, thank you.
Okay, now that we've had a review of the statements and they have been audited and complete and if anybody wants to make changes, good luck. But I'm going to ask for the committee to approve these fiscal 24 Unified Investment Program and the Enterprise Program financial statements so that we can ask the full board to approve them. You're gonna move that for me, Cindy?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a word in edgewise. So yes, I would move the UIP and the enterprise legislative audit. Move to approve those.
Okay, and I guess I'll second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, they have been moved. Okay, and we already talked about the code of ethics statements for all of the board members to sign. Is there anything else that you want to cover, Cindy? Are there any questions that you have for the committee?
No, just the only thing when we get to the code of ethics, not only should everybody sign it, everybody actually needs to read every single word of it. So just, I think that goes without saying, but it certainly warrants a reminder.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay. With that, I would call the audit committee meeting closed.